Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nurturing Duality, a space where we believe that the beauty of life lies in its contrasts: light and shadow, joy and sorrow, the divine feminine, the divine masculine. Do you ever feel those polarities within? My name is Laura Coleman. I am a channel and a medium. I full body channel Archangel Michael. I'm an intuitive healer and a spiritual coach, and I work one on one with clients to help them facilitate the release of what no longer serves and really tap into that inner wisdom that we all have. I'm an acupuncturist. I have my master's degree in traditional Chinese medicine and my bachelor's of science in TCM nutrition. Two of the sweetest souls call me Mama, and I have the pleasure of being married to my soulmate. So, here in this space, I will mainly be sharing my calls that I facilitate with Archangel Michael. Those currently happen once a month. However, as this thing kind of gets going and we get rolling, they have shared that they will happen more frequently and there will be more participants. So, that is really, really exciting. But as of now, it is a once a month, and between the once a month calls, they have told me that they want me to bring through guidance and teachings to share with you all. And so I will be making shorts and reels between the 1 month calls to bring through the guidance that they have. So if this resonates with you, hit subscribe and join me as we navigate balancing the opposites of our souls to awaken that inner wisdom through the guidance of our angels.
Okay. Thank you guys so much. I'm so excited. I truly, truly, truly appreciate each one of you for being here, for holding space and allowing me to really step into this gift because not gonna lie, I am nervous and I'm scared, but I'm more so excited and yeah, this just feels like something big. So I'm so thankful for each and every one of you. Couple of things that came through as I was channeling because a little bit of a backstory, but I had to level up about 7 different times in order to hold the frequency of Archangel Michael. And in each single session, it was grueling. I mean, just the amount of energy that was coming through and having to speak through that energy and working through um feelings of a child is not having my voice and like that coming up, and there was so many things that came up in the last 3-ish weeks when I really started diving into this, and Archangel Michael really reassured me that everything that was coming up was to hold the frequency of this light. And so yeah, it's just been wild. But after I did all of the leveling up, they gave me a homework assignment and said that I had to channel for myself every single night until tonight's call. And that was for probably about like 6 days or so. And it was all random things about the call, how long it's going to be and all of that good stuff. But the last 2 nights I got some really like cool information. And so they said that there is going to be 13 angelics on this call with us. Archangel Michael steps through, but anytime that I full body channel Archangel Michael, there is always other energies present, other angelics, other archangels. And so he will oftentimes like speak I and we or us just interchangeably. I wanted to put that out there because it does kind of get confusing if you don't know that. You're like, well, wait, I thought you were channeling Archangel Michael. Well, I am, but it's kind of like a collective of the angelic energy. He also said that the call is encoded with an energetic frequency, and that frequency will be able to be felt. They're encoding us with uh, just light and love and really raising our vibration. And anyone on this call or who listens to the replay back will be able to feel that. And if you can't, just know that it is still working through you. And I'm very curious if at the end of the call, kind of your experience of that energy, because when they said that, I had like a rush of energy and they told me that's what it would feel like. So if you are very in tune with the subtle energies that you feel, I want to know what your experience is on that. And last but not least, they told me that there will be plenty of these calls. They actually said thousands. So that seems very overwhelming for this to be the first call, and to know that that is, a future trajectory that kind of we're going on. So I'm just, again, so thankful for all of you guys to spend your Wednesday night when you could be doing other things, and again, holding space. Like, I cannot thank you guys enough. So just a couple of things through my process. I know I've actually given all of you a reading, so that's really exciting. But it's kind of the same thing. I close my eyes, I yawn, they raise my vibration. Depending upon how long it takes, they can kinda speak through and let you know the process, but since the leveling up, it's really been pretty quick. It's been about 3 to 5 yawns, and then, they fully step in. However, I got in my head a couple of times, and so, a few nights ago, it took about 5 minutes. So it may take, 3 minutes, it may take 5 minutes, but just wanted to throw that out there. Does anyone have any questions before I start? No? Okay. I am going to sit back and allow Archangel Michael to step through and see what he has to say. Hi, Archangel Michael, I'm here. And I want to thank each and every one of you for witnessing the messages and the teachings that we are going to bring forth. Like Laura said, this is the first of many messages that we are going to transmit through her, because it is now time, and it is now. We apologize about the transmission. Laura is feeling a level of nerves. But it is now time for the collectiveness as a conscious unit to be raised to the next dimension. And each and every one of you have been chosen to hear this message because you are at the pinnacle of your awakening, if not already awakened. Laura did not know it, but we have shown her and guided her so that each and every one of you on this call this evening will hear this message, receive this energetic transmission to awaken, unlock, and help you on your path. Each and every one of you have a very important mission, a soul mission. You know it, you feel it, and you will be the ones to help raise the consciousness. There are many of you on the planet that are doing this type of work, and their missions are equally as important as your missions. And anyone listening back to this recording will know who they are deep in their soul. This time, in this place, this consciousness in Earth is shifting. And that is why there is so many things that are in disarray, because balance is about to occur. And we all feel that at a collective level. The ones who are in tune with these subtle energies and practicing the light work that we are all here to do. It is no small feat, and each one of your souls has signed up in this lifetime and many lifetimes to do this work. But the majority of us who are doing this work know that now is the time for all of our gifts to come online. This is no time to play small. We need to help those around us who cannot help themselves. We have spoke through Laura to Stephen about the souls who will be left behind, and each one of you will be helping souls who otherwise would be left behind. And those souls are wandering, they're lost, and they are waiting for you to step into your power. And that is what this message is about this evening, is your divinity, your power. Each one of you feel it and know it. But you need to step up. Release the fear. Fear is what is holding you back. And that may seem harsh, but sometimes tough love is needed. But we really want you to feel into the love that is encoded with this message, the frequency, because everything we do, every ounce of energy we speak through Laura is encoded with divine love, source, universal frequency. Truly feel every soul in here connect with one another and help raise the vibrational frequency. Allow each one of your cells to release what no longer serves so that you can step into the light and fully know who you are and your mission. There's so much happening on the other side, so many guides and, shall we say, ascended masters who are assisting in this transition of consciousness. But we can't do it alone. And that is why your soul's reincarnated in this lifetime. And each one of you listening now and listening to the replay back, know deep within your soul that now is the time to stop playing small. Now is the time to step up. And you will be divinely guided to those who that are supposed to help you in your path so that you can unlock your gifts and you can fully step into the light. This work is not easy, but you will be greatly rewarded with the abundance of the universe. Feel that in your soul. You are all worthy of the abundance that is around us. And that fear is holding you back from all of your dreams, all of your desires, and all of your blessings. Fear, guilt, and shame are the lowest vibrational frequencies, and those frequencies hold you down and anchor you to your pain body, your old self, the past that no longer serves you. The message tonight isn't one of a grand stature for a few different reasons. One, Laura was quite nervous about this call, and we want to assure her, speaking through her now, that it is not going to be a, shall we say, chemistry lesson on the first day. But today is just Energy 101. But there will be other lessons, other teachings down the road as she gets more comfortable in sharing these gifts with you and the world. And those are the ones that are going to help you and your souls on the trajectory of your path of greatness. Each one of you has greatness within you, but some of you aren't showcasing that greatness to the world, and it has you feeling lost. It has you feeling lonely, and your light is dimmed. But again, we want you to feel the divine love that is coming through and the energetic frequencies that are holding you and guiding you. Laura is having a little trouble with the message. Please, one moment. Like we said, this isn't a chemistry lesson on the first day. This is Energy 101, but the message is just as powerful, and the energetic frequency that is going to help awaken those who need to hear this message. That is what today is about. We are going to switch it over to Stephen. What questions do you have for us?
Where to begin? So, starting with the timing of now, the collective is going through a pivotal shift. Like, can you shed more light on what exactly is happening and why is right now the time? Is it an astrological thing? Is it a preset timer in humanity? Why is now the turning point?
Yes, great question. We are first going to address astrology, and astrology is just a guiding tool for you here on Earth to help you on your path, to really let you know that you are divinely guided and you are here for a purpose. It coincides with what some might call the Akashic records, and while they are different, they are just that. They are a guiding point. They can help you see where you've been and where you are going. Now, to address your question about why now, why the collective, what is this point in time? And it is truly about the evolution and how far the scales have tipped one way. And Mother Nature will always balance. And it is so far tipped in the other direction that it is now time for the scales to tip back. And so our souls, the ones who have been doing this work time for millennia, are now stepping up to tip the scales in the other direction because balance is always the key. Balance will always happen. Your body is always trying to be in a state of homeostasis, and it is always trying to find balance, and it will do that and manifest in ways that we cannot explain from a physical level if we are not conscious, if we are not aware. If you are putting junk food in your body and wondering why your skin does not look clear, it is because there is an imbalance. And the same goes for society, for humanity. If there is toxic and there is, shall we say, mass unconsciousness, those of us who are conscious will step up to the plate and will rise to the occasion to help the vibrational frequency of those who otherwise would not be awakened. What is your next question?
Thank you.
You are so
Um,
welcome.
regarding the forces that are tipping the scales in the other directions, the mass unconsciousness. Is it simply mass unconsciousness? Is it simply a disremembering of our true nature, or are there other destructive, unwanted, quote unquote, negative forces at play?
Another great question. Thank you, Stephen. There is two things at play here. Yes, it is a mass unconsciousness, and it is a souls who reincarnate and do not learn the lessons that they are supposed to learn. And each lifetime they reincarnate, they build upon the last one, but there truly is not much to build upon. And there, shall we say, Laura is having trouble with the word. Shall we just say their ego gets in the way, their free will here on earth gets in the way. And while their soul has the best of intentions, every time they reincarnate, and this is a general statement, these are the unconscious souls, but every time they reincarnate, their free will gets the best of them because they have lived so many lifetimes not evolving. Now, to answer your question about the entities, I believe you had said, It is really a two-part question. There is always dark within the light, and there is always light within the dark, but the energetic entities that most think of as, shall we say, demons or monsters, those are really the ego getting in the way. Those are really the fear and the grief and the negative energetic frequencies holding a soul down. And so while most of us who work in the light have the gift of sight, can see those energetic beings or frequencies, that's really all it is a frequency of energy. And there are multiple frequencies. There is a frequency of love, there is a frequency of guilt, there is a frequency of oneness and wholeness, and each one vibrates and has a aura about them. And if somebody is carrying low vibrational frequencies, it may appear to those who have the gift of sight that they have energetic entities, demons, or what have you. However, they perceive that energy within their experience. That is truly what it is just energy and frequency that is holding them down.
So like sandbags, just weight. It's just weight and density holding it down. It doesn't have its own consciousness that's looking to replicate.
Correct, correct. There is nothing about it, but we will give you the analogy of two apples. And if you have a rotten apple next to a fresh, ripe apple, and you stick them next to each other, this apple will eventually rotten, because the energies and the frequencies of these will bring those down. That's why it is very important for us light workers to hold space for one another and really come in community to continue to raise our vibrational frequency, because the work that we do, depending on the souls that you choose to work with, they can weigh you down if you do not have a level of energetic boundaries, shall we say. And it's really a belief system. Maybe the apple wasn't a great analogy because that is inevitable, that will rot. But it is truly a belief that if you are in toxic relationships and you do not remove yourself from them, you will eventually find yourself rotting your own apple.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
So, a couple more questions. It sounds like you're speaking to the power of coming together into community and the power of light workers kind of joining forces, holding space, and supporting one another. Bridging off of that, in what ways can we most effectively, as the light workers, anchor compassion and higher frequencies to guide and help to guide the wandering souls, to help capture them, to bring them our way? What's the best way we can do that?
Another great question. The best way is to truly step in to your power, truly step into the divinity of your soul. That is why you came here. And the more that you choose to live in fear, in shame, in guilt, the less that you are able to hold that frequency. And it really is about doing the inner work, about releasing your own quote unquote inner demons. And we're going to take it back to the question about the entities. That's really where the inner demons come from, or the vibrational frequency is the things that you hold on to that manifest. And it may start as a sliver of shame, but the more and more that you allow that shame to settle into your cells on an energetic level and a physical level, that is how it manifests out into itself. And so the best way to help those souls is to continue doing the work, getting up every day and knowing that you are in the right place at the right time, and now is the time to shine. No longer dim your light. For those of us who have lived with our lights being dim, and we do want to speak on that for just a second, because we often get questions as to why do I experience X, Y, and Z? And uh, I've had all of this trauma in my life. Why is that? Well, how are you supposed to help another soul if you have not experienced the trauma in your life? And we don't say trauma lightly. We know that things that happen are quite horrific, but your soul signed up for that to help others. And it really is about bringing yourself as close as you can to the light, as close as you can to your highest self and your mission and your purpose.
Thank you. So as you're speaking, I'm seeing like this image of like a lantern that's drawing moths and bugs to it, and almost like these lost souls are just fluttering around everywhere. Shining our light is therefore attracting them to us through the gravity.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. And you will not be able to attract the souls that you are supposed to help if you are not shining your light at full capacity.
So then the inner work to upgrade our own frequency is of the utmost priority.
Correct. That is your only mission here. And if you do help souls, that is a bonus. But you cannot do that if you are not fully stepping into your light, fully accepting your gifts, and fully loving all parts of you so that you can release the density that you currently carry.
Excellent. So, backing up just a little bit, for those of us who are feeling urgency, the light workers who are coming online and are realizing this purpose and this call, can you speak to the sense of urgency that some of us are feeling, and if there's any sort of timeline or what's going to help ease this urgency?
Another great question. We truly appreciate the thought that you put into these questions. So, the urgency that you are feeling is truly your soul stepping on the gas. It is time, and quite frankly, most people have been lollygagging around. They know they have these gifts, but something over here distracts them, whether it be a job that is unfulfilling, a partnership that no longer holds its weight. And that really takes us away from our path. And the urgency that you are feeling is because you should have got on the train 3 years ago, 5 years ago. But that is the human experience. That is the beauty of free will. There is no judgment in the message. We love and we accept any of your choices because you are a y- one second. Laura is having trouble with this transmission. You are a direct descendant from God, and that in itself, in its own right, should be enough to awaken that divinity within you. But again, that is the beauty of the human experience, is to fail and try again. And we say fail with the most love and compassion because when you fail, that is truly where the magic happens. That is truly how you learn the lessons. And that is truly how you can decide to step up or repeat that pattern. And so, again, we really take it back to that urgency your soul is feeling is stepping into the light to your divinity and shining the light as bright as you can, because in order to do the work that you are meant to do, you need to fully step in and shine.
So almost like the urgency is a backlog of times of when we could have gotten on the train sooner. And along this train of thought, then it will reach a place where the urgency fades and it's just more natural to be in this space.
Great question. I think it really depends on the work that you have done. And if you've gotten on the train and you are doing the work, yes, the urgency will dissipate because you are in your purpose, you are aligned with your soul's mission. But if you have one foot on the train and one foot off the train, you will constantly feel that unease and how do we say dis disalignment with where you are supposed to be because there is again that imbalance of where you should be, which is quote unquote on the train, and where your ego is really taking you.
So devotion is important. Devotion is key here. Going all in.
Absolutely, absolutely. It is going in with blind faith and having trust that your guides and your team, the angels, God, the universe, has your back and is guiding you. We send synchronicities and we truly show signs to every individual, every soul to let them know that they are on the right path. But the question really is, do you see the messages? Or do you just call it a coincidence and move about your day? Because those are the little moments that give you that nudge to move forward. It truly helps to see because then you will see things on a grander scale. If you can see the small signs, it's like working your way towards the bigger, the grand picture.
Excellent. Thank you. And I want to name that these aren't all my questions. I'm reading from the chat here. So these are questions from myself, and these are also questions from everybody online here.
Well,
Um,
thank you everyone for your questions. These have been most pleasantly surprised.
so now speaking to more like micro steps, daily steps, what are things that we can be doing on a daily basis? What are exercises or tools that we can use, simple things as individuals to help support the collective?
Another great question. First and foremost is truly tapping in to your highest self. That is where the guidance and the wisdom of your soul can be heard. And it's really about shutting out the outer noise and stepping into the silence. Most of us, we will say the majority of those conscious and all of the ones who are unconscious have a hard time shutting off the mind. There is so many distractions in this day and age that it is truly hard for you to sit with yourself, your thoughts, and hear what your soul has to say. And that really goes hand in hand with channeling your guides and energetic frequencies like ourselves. If you can't sit with yourself, who are you going to be able to sit with to help? How are you going to be able to hold space if you cannot hold space for yourself? It is loving all parts of you and doing the deep work to have love and grief in the same moment. Love that it happened, grief that it happened. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I think what the questions are coming through are trying to seek clarity, like actionable steps, connecting to our higher selves. Okay, how do we do that? What's the daily thing that we can do? Is it a simple mantra? I connect to my higher self now. Is it actively looking for the synchronicities and keeping a log of it to show our mind and keep track of like, oh, the help and the resources that are available to us? What are like human action steps that we can be taking that are like something we can check off the box every day on our to-do list?
Another great question. However, it is really personal preference. Each soul is unique. Some people like chocolate cupcakes, Some people like ice cream and don't even like cupcakes. And that is really the key, is finding out what is the best way for you to connect with your higher self. And we are showing Laura that through the readings that have been given, there has been multiple tools and steps that were relayed through her to the souls on this call. And we are encouraging them to go back and listen to the recordings of their individual session, because most sessions have had steps and guides to be taken to get to a place where they trust the information that is coming through. They trust their higher self, and they can fully step into their divinity, into their gifts, and into their soul purpose.
Excellent. It's very windy here. My patio chairs are blowing all over the place. Apologies for the disruption. So, thank you for that. For everyone on the call, go back, watch the videos, take the steps, get off our butts, and actually do the things. Cool. Now back to like, I think there's a lot coming up around community, and how are we, what are tools to stay grounded and connected to our light and connected to ourselves and stay in these practices when we might be surrounded by others who are unconscious, when there's just a constant stream of disapproval or a community that isn't supporting us? What's the action step there?
Well, the easiest answer to give is to remove yourself from the toxicity that you are experiencing, whether that is a workplace, a relationship, a friendship, or even just a neighbor. However you want to look at the toxicity. However, we know it isn't always that easy to quit your job, to move your residence. And so with that said, some of the easiest things that can be done is to connect with Mother Earth, connect with nature, and really allow her to transmute and alchemize that toxicity. Ground yourself and allow yourself to feel the grass on your feet and the sun on your face, the wind blowing in your hair. Listen to the birds. These are the things that we are, as a society, so far removed from, and that is by design. There are people who have power, who are misleading and misguiding us away from how we are designed as a human specimen, to connect and really to have that sense of community with Mother Earth. And again, your question is very unique to the individual. So while it is hard to say the next step, but truly it is removing yourself from the toxicity.
Excellent. So I'm seeing the image of like an orchid or a delicate flower, and just putting it in the right conditions is incredibly effective to allow it to naturally bloom, and removing it from the toxicity. That's just a basic step that will help. Or the more we can do to surround ourselves, if we can't quit the job, if we can't get out of the relationship, but things we can add into the equation that are supportive, that are nourishing, that do validate our higher selves, that will help to tip the scales.
Correct. And we do want to state that more times than not, these relationships, the workplace, whatever situation that you are feeling a level of toxicity in, look for the lesson. What are you supposed to learn out of that situation? Because sometimes it's not always as easy as removing yourself from that situation. Because if you go from one job to the next job and your boss was a tyrant, you may have the same type of boss in a different body, in a different being, because you have not learned the lesson that you were supposed to learn. So when we say remove yourself from the toxicity, maybe we should maybe we should specify more that it is truly uncovering what it is that triggers you, and remove that toxicity from your being, your cell, your energy. And maybe that alone would shift perspective from your job, your relationship, or your residence. But if you have done that inner work and there is still that energetic disharmony, then the next step of evolution would be to remove yourself from that job, relationship, or otherwise.
Excellent. Thank you. So you touched on Mother Earth and connecting with nature. Can you paint a picture for us of who Gaia is, who Mother Earth is? Who is she? What's going on here?
Yes, well, she is the mother of all. She is the creator and the birther of existence in this realm. She was created by God and by the universe, as some may call it, but everything on this plane really abides by her love and by her rules. And that again is where the balance happens. There oftentimes are disasters such as hurricanes or wildfires, but that is to balance out the disembalanced or disembodied souls of that particular area to help cleanse the vibration of a particular geographical region. Mother Earth and Gaia, as you call her so lovingly, is really the creator of everything. And through her comes life, and through her comes death. And she alchemizes and transmutes everything so that we can always stay in a balance and in a harmony of homeostasis.
Thank you. And so would you say that she and her calibrating and her balancing forces are more focused on the collective and not of the individual?
Absolutely. It is never about one individual. All is one and one is all. And we are all connected to Gaia, Mother Earth. That she is the heartbeat of the collective.
Excellent. Now, speaking to the different roles that different souls and different people have on the planet, right now in this incredible time of recalibration and natural disasters and war and poverty and hunger, can you speak to the different, not a hierarchy, but the different tiers, the different roles that different individuals have on this planet? I'm kind of along the lines of there are certain people that are on the front lines who are there bringing food to the poor and bringing food to the hungry and in the legislation and in the White House and fighting the battles, boots on the ground. And then there are other people who are more focused on the frequency aspect of it, where their job is to anchor in the frequency for this shift to reach peak capacity. Would you say that's true? Can you shed more light on that?
Absolutely. You are 100% correct because there needs to be again balance. Some need to push and think of it as an army. There are generals and there are soldiers and everything in between, and you cannot have just an army who does not have a direction and where to go, and you cannot have all generals telling each other what to do without somebody actually physically doing the work. And we do want to speak on the other half of the collective who are, shall we say, in disarray with the energetics of the frequency of light and that energy. And that is really egos at play. That is really their free will and their egos feeling the paradigm shift and clinging on to the last stitch effort, shall we say, to really keep things in disharmony and disarray. And so the ones that are really moving this movement from the ground are the ones that are supposed to, because they have done that heroism work. They have been soldiers in past lifetimes and they are comfortable with having more of a hands-on approach. The ones who are doing the energetics of it, those are the ones who their souls already did that work and they have evolved to be able to hold a higher frequency to help hold energy and light for those really doing the work, because there is a balance of energy, movement and energy, and they both need to exist for this shift to happen.
Excellent. So action in the physical plane as well as frequency in the energetic plane.
Correct.
Wonderful. Okay, I want to shift gears a little bit and I want to talk about the church. I want to talk about angels in relationship to the church. I am curious how you would position angels in. I've got a lot of questions here. One, how did the church form? What got started here? What was the original function and birthplace of the church, and how are angels related to that?
Great question. Church was never what it appeared to be. It was a communion of like-minded souls coming together to do that, to be in communication with one another, to build upon the teachings and the learnings, and really have a space of communal agreement with the energetics of life, and what can truly come through and how things can be transformed when more than one soul comes together to gather with the same intention. And at some point in time, souls realize that there is a true way to monetize on that. And with the free will that souls have here on earth, they took it and ran with it, and it evolved into a facade, really. Um, Putting your best foot forward while having, shall we say, not the best of intentions. And angels, they are not tied to the church. They were somehow intermingled as a way to control the masses. When angels visit you, it is miraculous, to say the least. The energy and the frequency and the sheer volume and size, when presented, it can be quite scary. And they were really used as a tool to shackle souls and to get people to conform. And that fear is what drove a lot of souls into shame and guilt. And those running the churches knew that and kept those in shame and guilt. And while the church likes to present angels as protectors, which we are, they turned us into. Laura is having trouble with this religious conversation. One moment, please. We were truly used as ploys, as decoys, and that's not the nature of who we are.
That makes sense. Thank you. And to be used, would you mean the image, the story, the meaning of you was distorted? It's not like the humans actually had control over you.
Correct. Yes, the ones in power, the ones who wanted to keep the masses in shame and guilt and fear, they distorted our energy, our message, and and truly instilled that fear into those who would otherwise not have a level of fear. They really they tried to keep the individual as far away from God as they could and used themselves as the funnel for the information and instilled fear, shame, and guilt into them so that they would never know who they truly are and who their souls came to be.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Question from the group. What's the purpose here? The purpose to keep the individual away from their God power, from their God essence. The purpose
Yes,
of that is that just to control, just to monetize, just to archive power?
absolutely. It is to control and it is to build on the ego if we should be so frank. The ego is truly what gets in the way when people get a sense of power. But that is a, how do we say, misguided power. Because the true power comes from when you are able to stand in your own power, in your own divinity, and truly allow the God within you to shine. See, God is not one who instills fear. God is not one who smites. God loves every aspect of you. Every thought that you have, every action that you take, because God created you. And God is both the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And that is where the church really set things in a level of imbalance, is that they created God to be only the divine masculine and really stifled the divine feminine. And that is why there is so many women light workers that are now raising to the occasion, because they have been silenced, they have been completely removed and stripped from their power, that now it is time for the women to rise up and balance the scales.
Thank you. And would you say that this is, are there other big players involved here? Because it sounds like what you're saying is the church was one of the original big influencers to tip the scales and imbalance them. Is that the biggest force? Was that the origin force? Were there others? Are there currently others? Or is that still the trickle down effect of what's happening now?
There are always others. It never starts with one place, one entity, one person. There, just as there is a collective of light workers, there is a collective of those who wish to seek power in any way, shape, or form, and they do not care about the aftermath of their actions, thoughts, or true um route to get there. And so while we could list off all of these things that aligns with the disempowerment of souls, it's truly not needed, because the point of the message is it is in disbalance and needs to come back to that balance. But we do want to touch on a point here, because we feel that while we said the women light workers are the ones to be raised, there is a divine feminine and a divine masculine in all of us. And the true calling with most men is to tap into that divine feminine, and most women need to tap into the divine masculine, because we feel so comfortable being in the opposite divinity because of the current gender that we stepped forth in this lifetime. But as you know, genders don't always mean the energetic frequencies that we hold. And so the message truly is to step into the other if you are more frequently in a if you are more in your divine masculine, you need to step more into your divine feminine. And if you are more in your divine feminine, you need to step more into your divine masculine. That is a collective, but that is also a individual.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, so now shifting gears towards the future and where we're headed with all of this, can you paint is there a timeline we're on? Like in this lifetime, we talk about the new earth, we talk about the 5D collective consciousness, we talk about, what's being birthed here and the balancing of the scales. Can you shed light on a timeline when that will be complete and what it looks like when it is complete?
Another great question. We cannot give you a timeline and we cannot give you a completion because there are so many timelines. Each individual soul has a timeline. And when they step into their divinity and truly engage with the collective at a soul level, is up to the individual. And there are many coming online who want to do the work but are still shackled in fear that they cannot get out of their own fear to do their life's mission. And that is why it is so important for those of us who are conscious and those of us who are working towards getting into the light to continue to do that work, because the more of us who raise to a higher vibrational frequency and are truly in our divinity, that is when things are going to start shifting. And they are shifting because those of us who are doing the work are starting to tip the scales, but it really is up to us, the ones who are doing the work, to help the others to then ricochet the rest of the souls into the next evolvement. And what it will look like on the other side is there is going to be peace, there is going to be love, there is going to be more of us who are tapped into the natural rhythm and flow of Mother Earth. There is not going to be such chaos and disarray, and truly bodies who are misaligned with the frequency of love. There is so much in this time, in this space, where souls are so far lost, so far gone, that their bodies cannot regulate, their energy cannot regulate, and their minds are not even online. They just go day to day in and out of life on autopilot. And over here, once we have reached the pinnacle of the collective and conscious shift, we will be able to reach levels of the universe that are not obtainable at this place. We will be able to come to a space on a collective level where what we think we are doing right now with technology and bringing forth that, um, it's really just a stone in the water to the possibilities, the infinite, excuse us, knowledge that is at our disposal if we tap into it.
Wonderful. So it's again back to almost that blind faith notion of like, we don't know when the scales are going to tip, but we do know that the more we hold this frequency, the more we devote to it, and the more people we can inspire to do the same, the faster it'll happen.
Correct, because every time you shine your light, it is a ripple effect with those in your community, those within your family. And as you continue to shine your light, that is the energetic frequency that you are sending out to every single person you interact with. If you get coffee and you say hello and your light is shining, you may start to turn somebody else's light up just by being you in your soul and in your divinity.
So partially answered the next question already, but aside from shining our light brighter, aside from doing our own internal work, aside from connecting to the God within, what are the best ways that we can help others? And are there people we should focus more or less on. I would go down the line of thought that it's more about sparking momentum with people who are already close to coming online than it is to try and spark momentum in somebody who's very far down the road in the other way.
That truly is personal preference, but the key here is to live a life of service and gratitude and really in the energy and frequency of love. That is where we should all be trying to obtain every single moment of every single day is living a life of service and gratitude through love. And these souls that you speak of who are further down the line, that is really a personal preference. And again, that goes back to connecting with your higher self and your team and your guides. They guide you and they will tell you if that is a avenue for you to go down and for you to help. But all of us need to use our discernment because we at a certain level we are meant to work with vibrational frequencies and some of us based on our gifts, our abilities, and our reincarnated lives have the ability to work with many people of vibrational frequency on the spectrum. Others of us, it is a lot harder for us to vibrate at a higher frequency and come down to a different vibrational frequency and hold space for them. And not saying that you are lowering your frequency, although that happens if you feel into guilt and shame and fear. But those of us who are conscious are able to bring ourselves back up to that higher vibrational frequency. But those souls who don't vibrate at the same frequency, some souls can't hold space for this when their frequency is so much higher. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Shifting gears again now to technology and artificial intelligence. What role does artificial intelligence play in the evolution of humanity, specifically as it relates to the evolution of consciousness and this tipping or rebalancing of the scales?
Another great question. We are so appreciative of these questions that the groups are bringing forward. So, how you say AI or artificial intelligence, that is really just a tool in the technology pool. And while we can speak through you to that, correction, we can speak to you through that avenue. There are other factors at play, and use your discernment when using those specific tools because at some point it is going to get to a level where again those in power want to keep themselves in power, and so how much do you actually want to communicate through these avenues to keep those in power with maybe not the best interests of the souls using this technology in power? Now, what was the last portion of your question? I do apologize.
Well, the question was how, its role in helping this collective shift.
Yes, thank you. So the technology and how it continues to progress over the years, this has been the fastest trajectory of technology since the beginning of the internet, the beginning of cell phones, and it's really taking people to another level of, shall we say, information to help them with their consciousness. Because while you can Google search something and it will give you an answer, you are the one that has to weed through and really find that needle in the haystack that is going to help you. But through these AIs, it takes all of the knowledge and all of the information that is out there about a certain topic, as let's just say archangels or the Akashic records, and it can give you the best of the best information in one place. And that is where it really is going to help a lot of the these souls who are starting to come online with these gifts that they don't quite understand, and they don't know where to turn, and they don't know who to talk to, that is where that is going to help shift the consciousness. But again, use your discernment with what you share in these platforms, because just like anything else, in this day and age, that data is used to gain more control and more power. So there is always, light within the dark and dark within the light. And that is where, again, we truly ask you to tap in and connect with your highest self, because if you are not connected with your highest self, you might not be catching these subtleties of things that may not be for your highest good.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Now, kind of along the lines of technology, but also biology, is the human genome evolving? Is the human biology, is it going through its own transmutation?
Absolutely. As we continue to raise our vibrational frequency and think with a higher level of consciousness, the diseases that are taking over bodies cannot exist in the same frequency. And, there truly is truth to what the Bible speaks of when souls lived for lifetime. I mean, the amount of time souls lived back then to what they live now is truly a testament to the thought process and the unconsciousness that is currently happening in the society today, because we are so far removed from ourselves, from our bodies, and our discernment of what is going on, correction, around us, that we are no longer able to hear the subtleties that our bodies are telling us, and the messages and signs that are going on. And you have the ability to heal yourself. It is proven by many that have, what is the word? Laura is having trouble with this particular transmission, but there are certain souls who have ailments that are unheard of, that are not on record, and they heal themselves, and doctors do not know why. It is because they step into a level of consciousness and that frequency of love, and they cannot exist within that frequency. So, for anybody who is listening to this call who has things going on in their body, they have the ability to heal themselves, but at what cost? The cost is releasing that pain body, releasing the old self, releasing the ego that is holding you down. And so, yes, biology, from a biological standpoint, we are moving towards a shift in that area, but the majority and the masses are so sick because the majority and the masses are so unconscious at this point in time, that it is up to us to really stand tall in our knowing of this consciousness, to shine our light, to awaken the other souls to come on this journey with us.
Excellent. Thank you so much. A follow-up question to that, now intertwining biology with technology. As more things come online with microchips and merging technology with biology, and say like technological biology versus organic biology, would you recommend a route? Would you recommend staying with the organic biology of humans? Or would you recommend merging with the new technological advances that are coming to be implanted in our biology?
Again, I think those of you who are wondering about the organics or the technology intertwining with biology really need to use your discernment. Does that feel good? There is always greatness in both, but who is the message coming from? And truly, where is their perspective of each of the medicines coming from? Because if a doctor is performing a certain biological procedure using technology, it is coming from their lens, their view, their perspectives of life, and really how they view things. And so there can be good if the best of intentions are had with a particular procedure, but how does your body operate? Does it operate well, eating clean and really aligning with the natural flow and rhythm? Or do you find yourself leaning more towards the excitement of technology and how it can affect the body, prolong certain things? There really is no right or wrong answer. However, from a human cellular standpoint, organic is always going to be the best. And we don't say organic in the sense of throwing it around like a fancy word used now for the produce in this time and this day and this age, but we mean from a level of the self. Does that feel organic to you? Is that something that resonates with your soul? Because each one of us on this call and each one of us listening back is going to have a different answer.
Organic means different things depending upon our soul.
Correct.
Amazing. So I am just noting the time now. This call was slated to be an hour 20 to an hour 30. We're at an hour 20 now. I'm checking in with the group if anybody has any other questions, and I also want to check with you, Archangel Michael, if there are loose ends to tie up here, or if there are further messages, and or if Laura's system has calibrated enough for more of the original message to come through.
We thank you for your observation of the time. And Laura is actually getting quite thirsty. So we are going to end, but on one last note of thanks and gratitude for each one of you and your thought-provoking questions, and truly allowing Laura to practice her gift, because this is the first time that she has done this in the capacity with others. And we truly want to thank each and every one of you for showing up and holding space, because the work that she is going to be doing is going to be grand, and the messages that are going to come through her can only come through her with practice. And so, again, we thank you kindly. We leave you, as always, with love.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.